In the capital of North Korea, there is this one massive skyscraper that stretches above all other buildings in the country. Standing nearly a quarter of a mile into the sky, this is North Korea's most recognizable building. This building has also never been open to the public, essentially being abandoned since its early construction. This has caused people throughout the world to wonder, why was this building built and what was the purpose behind it? This is the story of the Ryugyong Hotel, or otherwise known as the real-life Tower of Terror or Tower of Doom. Since 1910, the country of Korea had been under Japanese rule for the past 35 years. This all came to an end in 1945 when Japan surrendered to the Allied powers in World War II. Korea was then split in two by the United States and the Soviet Union. Now Korea as a whole was being run by the United States and the Soviet Union, with the Soviet Union taking the north and the United States taking the south. These occupations were initially going to be temporary, but unfortunately, things changed. In 1948, the Soviet Union had installed a dictator in the northern part of Korea. This dictator's name was Kim Il-sung. Along with being granted power by the Soviet Union, he also snuffed out any other political rivals, making himself basically the king of this occupation. On the other hand, the United States had tried to install a government much like their own in the southern occupation of Korea. These differing views eventually fractured the country of Korea, permanently dividing the North from the South. So how do these events play into this abandoned tower in North Korea? Throughout this time, the leadership at North Korea had grown an intense hatred for everything South Korea. Along with this hatred, they would also try to one-up South Korea in almost everything, trying to show the world who the more powerful nation was. In 1986, a South Korean company opened up a hotel in Singapore that at the time was the largest hotel in the world. The name of it was the Westin Stamford, and this absolutely enraged North Korean leadership. North Korea's president, Kim Il-sung, could simply not allow South Korea to hold the term of having built the largest hotel in the world. Him and his son and the future leader of North Korea, Kim Jong-il, began to hatch a plan to outdo them. Some 3,000 miles away from this hotel in Singapore, North Korea began to clear ground to develop a new building in their capital. In 1987, construction was started on what would be known as the Ryugyong Hotel. At the time it was being built, it would have had the claim of being the tallest hotel in the world, but it ran into a major issue.
Repeating once again our top story, Soviet President Mikhail Gorbachev has been removed from power, and there are tanks now in the streets of Moscow.
In 1991, when the Soviet Union collapsed, it caused an economic downfall in North Korea. North Korea was heavily subsidized by the Soviet Union because they relied on them for trade, oil, and energy. As a result of this, the North Korean economy dipped by 25%, causing them to have to absolutely abandon this project. North Korea had spent the equivalent of $750 million just to completely abandon the Ryugyong Hotel. This figure equated to about 2% of North Korea's gross domestic product. And for a country that was completely engulfed in poverty, this was devastating. Well, this was not the only driver in the North Korea's economy collapse. This tower of concrete played a massive role. 2 years after the construction was halted, North Korea's leader, Kim Il-sung, passed away in 1994. The Ryugyong Hotel would stay untouched for the next 16 years until 2008 when work was finally started on it again. Slowly, around 2 decades later, the North Korean government had finally installed the windows. Ironically, because this hotel has never been opened, it has never had the claim of being the tallest hotel in the world like its original goal was. With that being said, Very few people had seen the inside of this hotel publicly, but that was about to change in the early 2010s. Around that time frame, images from the inside of this hotel began to surface throughout the internet. These images revealed something very glaring: the fact that North Korea was not even close to being done finishing this building. Though the outside of the building had been encased by glass, the inside still looked like a concrete tomb. Experts have estimated that it would take about $2 billion to complete this building, and that would be around 5% of North Korea's gross domestic product. One of the sad things about this project is that, unfortunately, most of North Korea is stricken by poverty. Even with this lack of resources for the country, the North Korean government has continued to work on this project, with 2016 marking the first time lights were seen on the Ryugyong Hotel. This tower was supposed to be North Korea's flagship symbol, but it has turned into a sign of the lack of care North Korea's government has for their people. This on-again and off-again construction has continued for the last 10 years, and the North Korean government also decided to install LED lights on the outside of this tower. These LED lights pump out North Korean propaganda and also act as a hider against the incompleteness of this hotel. In 2019, new signage was put up on the hotel, signaling a little bit more work being done. Fast forward 5 years later, and still the tower has not been completed. Since 2024, the North Korean government has also attempted to find a casino operator willing to complete this building at a lower cost. This is ironic because North Korea was originally building this tower to show their power throughout the world, and yet they're going to probably have to fall upon foreign aid to get this built. What also is interesting is that this tower's construction has outlasted two of the leaders of North Korea, with the second leader Kim Jong-il passing away in 2011. Ultimately, actions speak louder than words, and North Korea's actions simply prove that they care so little for their people. The truth is, North Korea may never finish this hotel, but the damage has already been done. They wasted all of this money when they could have spent it on their people who were squandering in poverty. This is what happens when a nation cares more about its power than its own people. And with that being said, I'm going to conclude my video on the Ryugyong Hotel. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good rest of your week.